As you may have recently heard, the KLR 650 is a thing of the past. Well, I mean, more of a thing of the past than it already was. This legendary vehicular dinosaur has been relatively unchanged since 1987. Sure, there was a cosmetic update in 2008, but for the most part, it's been pretty much the same bike for the last 31 years. Do you remember 1987? I don't. But apparently this was happening.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And so was this.
America's best aerobic athlete.
It is truly a testament to just how good a value this motorcycle is that it's been around for so long. Can you imagine if any other vehicle tried to do what Kawasaki did with the KLR?
Introducing the all-new Toyota Tercel for
2018.
simply more bang for the buck.
Who could ask for anything more? Toyota.
People just wouldn't buy it, but the KLR did it, and people bought it, and I was one of them. And I didn't care if it looked like some abominable enduro love child of an 80s GM and a 1990s Taco Bell. I loved it. Well, last month, a few publications have shown this largely redacted letter, dated September 14th, 2018, to dealers from the president of Kawasaki. The big news, and I quote, "The KLR 650 model year 2018 will be the final year for this iconic motorcycle." And in recent days, this has been confirmed. So the KLR 650 is in fact finally going to ride off into that dusty dual sport sunset. But it's not dead by any means. There's still 31 years of these trusty old mules on the road, and as reliable as they are, used KLRs will be around post-apocalyptically. But does this signify something dark for the dual sport world? As Honda proved with their 450L, dual sports are not dead. But like the CRF 450L might also prove, inexpensive thumpers might just be.
This kid rips.
The 450L may be a fantastic motorcycle, as are the KTMs, Husqvarnas, and Betas it's competing with, but it might signal a dark future for the budget dual sport market. Not that it's a bad bike by any means, but that it is expensive, and it may be expensive not because of the new tech, but because of the higher prices to meet tightening emissions standards. Now, I'm all for protecting the environment. After all, where would we ride if it was destroyed? But my guess, and it's just a guess, is that you could take an entire year of riding from every single cylinder dual sport thumper in the country, and it still wouldn't equal a single day of carbon emissions from LA traffic. And that brings us back to the KLR 650, carbon credits and carbon offsets. Now, I don't know a whole lot about all this carbon mumbo-jumbo. My knowledge about carbon credits comes from a few lazy minutes of Google research and from the mouths of partially inebriated moto friends at this year's Flying Monkey Rally. So take it for what it's worth, which is nothing. From my understanding, carbon credits are an allotment of how much carbon emissions a company or its products can produce. So crudely, let's say Kawasaki can spend 10 total carbon credits, and the KLR 650 was taking up 2 of those credits. Suddenly, Kawasaki ditches the KLR and now has 2 extra credits to spend to produce a new, more efficient motorcycle. And since the KLR was pretty inefficient, modern motors might mean that we get 2 or 3 new bikes from Kawasaki for the carbon price of ditching the aging KLR. Now take a look at Kawasaki's website. We've got a lot of really fast, really sleek looking ninjas with lots of H's and 2's and R's. And then we've got these 4 covered motorcycles in the background. In the middle looks like a Sport Touring and a Z125, and then there are these 2 on the sides. I'm pretty sure these are copied and pasted with Photoshop color change. Fake as they may look, these are the ones I want to uncover. I'm getting really excited. Even though I love the KLR 650 and have for years, I'm ready for the production to die. If killing these legends frees up room for Japan to add fresh blood to the dual sport lineup, then off with their heads. I just pray that under that cover is a budget-friendly middleweight dual sport. Middleweight meaning at or under 350 pounds. I understand the appeal of the KTM 790 and the Yamaha Tenere 700, but the numbers so far look like they'll be around the 400-pound mark, or above 10 grand, or both. The 450L seems awesome in the dirt, but it's not budget-friendly, nor is it meant for much more than legally crossing a road to get to the next trail. It's not a bad thing, that's awesome, it's just not what I was looking for. So we're counting on you, Kawasaki, to show us the Goldilocks dual sport. So let's shift gears to what I overheard from a little bird with a green K on his shirt. And this is totally rumorsville and can't be substantiated and should be taken for what it is, a lot of hot air. But I heard something that started with a KL and ended with a 550. Now maybe Kawasaki is once again playing lemming to Honda. Honda released the Grom and Kawi jumped on board with the Z125. Honda did the CRF 250L and Kawi re-released their own KLX 250. Then Honda did this total about-face, almost trying to distance itself from the woeful performance of the 250L with the 450L, gutting the maintenance schedule and budget price of the smaller, cheaper bike, and going the complete other direction with an expensive, high-performance, excellently suspended 450L. So with the rumored KL something 550, will Kawasaki keep this simple, reliable, big CCs and low compression formula of the KLR, or follow that Honda lemming off the high-powered, expensive dirt bike with blinkers cliff? And here's where we enter Dreamsville. No, not that dream. The one where I talk about my dream dual sport motorcycle. What I hope sits under that Photoshop shroud to replace the legendary KLR. Think of a motorcycle that has the reliability to go around the world in relative comfort, kind of like the KLR, but with the core of a dirtier bike. Maybe around 45 or 50 horsepower, nothing too crazy, but peppier than a DRZ, but with crazy torque. Like an unstallable tractor of a motorcycle. It doesn't need to win any drag races, and it shouldn't be race-inspired like the 500 EXC or the 450L. Just give it enough juice to get the front wheel up in third and hold 80 on the highway without feeling like it's going to blow up. My dream bike keeps the feel of the KLR's motor with that audible, tactile thump that just chugs when the RPMs drop. Maybe an aluminum frame to cut weight and make the bike liftable when it's down, but still enough heft to feel stable on the highway. Something close to under 350 pounds wet, with the weight tucked down low. It's gotta have a high ground clearance but lowish seat height for a little bit of the waddle factor, lots of travel in some fully adjustable suspension. I know it's old-fashioned and out of style, but maybe keep it carbureted. Why? Because fuel injection, though convenient and mostly reliable, can be a beast when it breaks, and carburetors are common around the world. Please give it 6 gears and a really wide ratio, but keep it cheap and simple. Cable clutch, analog controls, old school, so an idiot like me can work on it. Don't sacrifice what has worked for decades for expensive fancy stuff to shave a few pounds. Give it a seat like the bikes from the 90s, none of this slippery 2x4 garbage. And looks? If you're gonna go modern, the Yamaha T7 kinda nailed it. And if you're gonna go old school, I love the look of the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Maybe a throwback to the Gen 1 KLR, but lose the 1980s GM headlight and the blocky fenders. It would be great if this new dream dual sport adventure machine could come in at less than 10 grand. I mean, the KLR is a little over 6 grand new, the Versys 650 is a bit above 8 grand. MSRP on Suzuki's DRZ is a little less than 7. To make a modern dirt machine with the specs I mentioned somewhere within that price range seems absolutely reasonable. I mean, seriously guys, what many consider to be the first adventure bike, the BMW R80 GS had an 800cc boxer engine, produced that magical 50 horsepower that I want and 41 foot-pounds of torque, had a 4-gallon tank, and weighed in at a reported 410 pounds wet. And that bike came out in 1980. Nearly 40 years later, the KTM 500 EXC cranks out similar figures, and it's 250 pounds drive, so we are making progress. But it also costs over $10,000. So it seems entirely possible to get 50 horses out of a bike that weighs more than the 500 EXC, but still less than the old R80 GS, and still gets you out the door under 10 grand. So when this photoshopped cover comes off, I hope it's not another low-power bungee-suspended dirt scooter. I hope it's not a fire-breathing $10,000 dirt bike with blinkers. I hope it's not another 450-plus pound adventure fridge with knobbies. We've already got plenty of dirt scooters, legal dirt bikes, and adventure fridges. What we don't have, though, is a modern, middleweight, mid-price, middle-of-the-road dual sport. So come on, Kawasaki.
You can do it!
Now, usually this is the part of the video where I'd ask you to subscribe and hit the like button and all that garbage, but today I'm just gonna say thanks for watching, have a great day, go on a nice ride, and much love. eveRide out.